Good evening, Lake Orion. This has been a hectic week, ladies and gentlemen. It really has. Well, at least one, at least, well, we got two of us here on Between Taorminas. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Sammy, how you doing after hosting the show last week?
That was 2 weeks ago, right?
2 weeks ago, yes.
It was beautiful. I still miss it.
You still miss it?
I still miss it.
You know what Ian and I both said about, right?
Yeah, I kind of heard about it on the fish drive.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
So, speaking of Ian, there's no Ian this week.
I don't know what he's doing.
He must be doing graphic work.
Maybe.
I mean, graphic work. Get it? Graphic work. Okay. All right. So let's talk. We got some sports things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
First, we want to talk about a topic that touches your heart. Little League.
Yes.
The Little League World Series. The team from Chicago, Jackie Robinson West, ended up getting their American championship taken away from them and rewarded to another team from Las Vegas.
Mountain Ridge, Las Vegas.
Why does this story have wings to you?
Because here is the reason why. Jackie Robinson West is an all-African American team. However, they used ineligible players.
Alleged.
No, there's evidence that they used players who played outside the district boundaries, because in Little League they have like a district territory,
Right.
Whereas they tried to get players from other districts, but the other districts refused to do so, and Jackie Robinson West went with it anyway. So, in all reality, this was a team that they made was a super all-star team, whereas, they were the feel-good story of the Little League World Series. I mean, like, even though they lost to South Korea, they ended up going to the White House, went to Disney World, went to the World Series, went to the Cubs game. I mean, like, you know what? I mean, like, and then to see this get taken away from them, you know what I mean? Like, this World Series title is taken away from them. They can be winners, but the kids did nothing wrong here, but it's the adults who made the mistake here.
So you're saying that the kids should not be punished for this? Is that your
They should
argument?
not be punished, but with the investigation that the Little League International went with, you know what I mean? They went to Chicago. There was one guy, one of the rivals teams filed a complaint to Little League International about, because he was blown up 43-2.
By that same team.
And then you look at what happened over there, and every team's got to live by the rules, and if you don't live by the rules, you're going to pay the consequences. I said this in my Facebook, I said this in my Twitter. If you don't play by the rules, you're going to pay the consequences, and that's what Jackie Robinson West is doing right now, is paying the consequences.
So, but basically, what I'm hearing is two arguments. You say that the kids are not responsible, but you're also saying that the team should pay the price for the consequences. If you look at it, the kids had nothing to do with it. All the kids want to do is play baseball.
Correct.
And you look at the adults were playing corrupt politics, which it looks like it was.
Well, if you look at the history of Little League, okay, we've had a couple teams that were stripped of their title. Of course, 2001, of course, the Danny Almonte scandal. 1992, the Philippines. I mean, like, they were stripped of their Little League title because they played with ineligible players. This is starting to become a racial issue, and that's not good.
Racial or cheating?
it's a cheating issue
Why are you saying racial?
because, they're saying because Jackie Robinson was an African American team. And Jesse Jackson is now involved in this. And for what reason, I don't understand why he's involved in this. Because when you look at, there's been teams.
Maybe because in his perspective, it's probably because these are kids that are getting cheated on. The kids did nothing wrong
Because of race here? Oh. I mean, if you look at it here, you look at in the Little League, I mean, like, there's been African teams that won Little League World Series championships.
Fair and square.
There's been, like different ethnic groups that have won championships. And you don't see them get questioned, get investigated. I don't know where race is involved in this, but, leave the race factor out of it, for goodness sakes.
The thing I wonder though is if you look at it, do you think the kids deserve to have kept their championships? And maybe the adults probably face suspension, expulsion, force the staff to change. Do you think that could have happened, or did you have to completely take away the championship from everybody?
Man, it's a tough question. It's a tough question to figure this out. I mean,
because we've already made a point that the
parents
kids
acknowledgedly knew this. Jackie Robinson West knew this, that they did this. That they went district wandering. You know what I mean? The problem that I have is, if they're taking away your best player could be playing for another district, they would have been playing against each other. I personally think that.
But the point is, my question is, do you think if the Little League went to punish the staff, they didn't have to punish the kids? You know what I think? Do the kids keep their championship? Should the league have punished the adults and not went after the kids? Because the kids had no idea, or
they had no idea what was going on.
Some of the kids may not have had no idea behind the scenes.
They had no idea.
Some might have known, but I mean, if you look at it, they didn't.
They had no idea behind the scenes. But do I think? Because remember, this is a whole team-oriented thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is a whole team. You know what I mean? Not just the kids, but adults as well. You know what I mean? This is a whole organizational thing. Do I think they deserve to get their league title taken away? I'm going to have to say yes, because you look at, it's an organizational thing. You know what I mean?
Organizational.
It's an organizational thing. You have the manager, you have the people who are in charge of it, you know what I mean? And now you basically, it's a whole mess now with Illinois District 4 now being forced to dissolve or change leadership. It's an unfortunate situation for those kids, but I think this is the right decision by Little League International to take away the championship from Jackie Robinson West.
We'll be right back with Between Taorminas on ONTV. Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on ONTV.
We got to eat on MWO.
We've done business with MWO in the past. You know that, right? With Pat Ronan. We kicked him off the show because of it.
Yes, I know.
Sad, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, nonetheless, I wonder if Ian's dealing with them right now.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's why we have an empty blank chair.
Yes.
All right. I want to talk about something that's close to your heart, Lake Orion. What we're witnessing in the boys basketball team at present right now, not one of those years.
No.
what do you think is the situation going on?
You know, with Lake Orion sitting at 1-13 right now.
Right.
You know, there's been a lot of
Mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling. I thought they played a lot better in the last.
They've played a lot better.
The last 4 or 5 games. It's just the problem is defensively, this team's been a disaster. You know, they've been giving up 60 points mostly a lot these days. You know what I mean? Which is not good. I mean, like, you got a lot of offensive skill players. You know, the problem is you don't have the defensive mindset of. And, you know, I said this a couple times on my podcast, you know what I mean, annoying now. I said, this Lake Orion team is not a sound defensive team, you know. And a lot of people have been attacking Lake Orion through the three-point line, through, you know what I mean, through dribble drives. It's mostly, you look at the league this year, the OA White, a lot of those teams, for the 5 teams Orion plays this year have senior-laden teams. You know, you look at a team like Troy, their senior-laden team. Troy Athens, senior-laden team. Oak Park, senior-laden team. I mean, Pontiac, Justin Wallace over there, they're a senior-laden team. You know what I mean? So basically, you're facing all these teams that have a majority of senior-lane guards. You know what I mean? Who can take over games? It's kind of a problem when you have a young team like that. What Lake Orion has right now, and also. Another issue has been their bigs, their interior. You don't have that John McCarty who can go inside. You don't have that David Henry. You don't have that Nate Markham who can just go in there and be a dominant force, you know, like they had last year. I mean, like, so that's another problem. Your bench has been a disaster. I mean, like,
I don't know about that.
There's been a lot of things. There's been a lot of things that have went wrong with this team.
Do you think a lot of it involves youth?
I think some of it does. You look at the team right now.
Because a lot of kids
are coming back next year. When you look at guys like Noah Harris, David Gomez, Chris Dudek,
right.
You know, those 3 guys, you know what I mean? Those 3 guys, you know, the question's going to be, you don't really have a true small forward. You really don't have a true, and then of course you got the bigs coming up, you know,
in JV.
And also you got Caden Prescorn, who's a very underrated talent, I think. You know, I just think right now, you know,
it's going to take time for them to gel.
It'll take time for them to gel. I think that this team needs a year like this because, you know, you struggle, you know, one year, and the next year you bounce back with a vengeance. You know what I mean? And that's what's always happened around Lake Orion. As you have a down year, and then the next year you have like a vengeance. You know what I mean? Like look at the year Lake Orion went to state quarterfinals. I mean, they didn't have a good year that last year,
right?
And then they went to state quarterfinals the next year after that because, you know, it's just the energy, it's just the passion of the team right now.
I noticed that. Do you sometimes wonder, is it the league that they're in, or is it much more is it the mindset of you have to commit to defense to succeed on offense?
You got to commit to defense on offense if you want to succeed, because you look at teams in this league who are very good right now, are very good, fundamentally sound defensively. You look at a team like Troy, you know what I mean? You look at a team like,
because you're looking at
teams up in the red right now. You look at Clarkson; they're fundamentally sound. You look at teams like
North Farmington.
They're fundamentally sound, except they got some questions when it comes to rebounding. I mean, like, it takes time, and it's a program issue, I think, and it not only comes from the high school levels, it also comes down to the middle school levels, because you look at what each program is doing down there in the 7th and 8th grade level, then, you know, you look at how that's structured, and then, you know, you got to commit yourself to defense, you know. This is a whole program issue right now, I think, at Lake Orion.
I mean, we've noticed that at Lake Orion is it because if you look at it for football, first time you don't make the playoffs, since 2000. First time losing season since '96. Basketball struggling. A lot of people are blaming the senior class. I think it's unfair to blame the kids. I think it's unfair to blame the coaching. But is it possibly a lack of talent with the kids? I mean, because all the kids are good kids. But is it a talent issue with this group?
You know what? I mean, like, when I look at the record that the senior class had, they struggled their freshman year. They struggled their JV.
They had a good freshman year. Great freshman year, no offense. They had great freshman year.
I mean, like,
But
you look at the difference of competition. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The difference of competition, you know what I mean, going up from the JV level to the varsity level. Sometimes when you have a good JV team, it doesn't translate to the varsity level. And it's it can be a huge problem. Look at this JV team last year from boys basketball. They had a really good year. And then look at how they're struggling right now in the varsity level. It's not translating very well. I mean, like, it's not translating well right now because, it's just the transition up from JV level to varsity. It's a whole different animal when you're up in varsity than it is in JV.
Could one thing be coaching? Could it be coaching or could it be something else going on?
I think when you look at the transition up there, you play summer league, you know what I mean? You play I think the schedule this season, I think you look at the schedule this season, I thought it was too tough for this team this year playing
the four red
opponents. And then I just think the schedule was too tough on these kids early on in the year. I know it's going to get them mentally tougher. You've noticed that. But right now, the way I think this team's constructed, the way this team is the schedule, it's taking its toll on these kids, and it's burning them, it's frustrating them, you know what I mean? It's frustrating because, they're having a hard time trying to find
Would it have made a difference if Lake Orion moved down a division instead of staying in the white? Would it have made a difference? I mean,
I think so because, I'm going to be honest with you, because we knew West Bloomfield was going to be very good.
Right.
You knew Avondale was going to be very good.
Right.
When you look at the team equality with this team, I just think that I still think once the meetings are done in March, I think that Lake Orion's going to stay in white.
Yeah.
For next year.
Mm-hmm.
But with this team this year, truly, I still would have had West Bloomfield move up, and Rochester and us in Rochester. When Lake Orion and Rochester moved down,
who else would you have had up?
I would have had Avondale up as well. I mean, because it would have made it more interesting, you know what I mean? But who knows? If Lake Orion was in the blue, they could have had a little bit more wins right now.
But you think that this type of season could prepare them for next year?
Definitely, because it's going to get them motivated. You look at the girls' basketball team a couple of years ago when they struggled. They had a 12-8 season the year, and right now they're 10-5 right now. I mean, you look at that. You have to have a down season, one down season
to get back up.
You know what I mean? It takes. I use the term from Batman Begins,
right,
from Alfred. He said, "quote It takes one step down to pick ourselves back up," and I think that's what Lake Orion is at right now.
In both football and in basketball.
Both sports.
I hope that they do get back up. I mean, obviously, it's been a long year. A lot of questions. Hopefully, they get resolved next few weeks of the season. Then you got districts coming up.
Yep, at Clarkson. So we'll see what happens.
All right, when we get back, we're going to discuss some Detroit Pistons basketball here on Between Taorminas on ONTV. Hello, Lake Orion. It's Anthony Taormina, co-host of Between Taorminas. I want to let you know of a new show called History Now. In it, we're going to talk about global, national, and political events that occur in our lifetime. We're going to also have guests and also have co-hosts as well, and also plenty of surprises. Catch us on History Now here on ONTV. Hello, Lake Orion and Oakland County. This is Sammy Taormina here, talking a new show here called OA Now. We're going to talk about sports from football to basketball to volleyball to track and field to soccer, cross country, etc. here on OA Now on ONTV. Welcome back to Between Taorminas here on ONTV. How do you like that? Both our shows get promoted.
Yes.
And look at that empty blank seat.
That's like seeing seeing Bill Reese playing with an empty net.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Anyways, obviously with no Ian here, we're at the All-Star break for the NBA. The Detroit Pistons fighting to get in the playoffs. Also, you're saying they're going down. Why?
Because one, they looked helpless against the Spurs. They looked hopeless.
Spurs
look at San Antonio's basketball movement when they played. It was so beautiful. It was beautiful. This team, Pistons, don't have a soul. They're not good. Period. They're just not good. Period. They're finished. They will not make the playoffs. This team's a joke. I mean, like, if you think this team has a belief, they're done. They're done for.
What would Ian Weatherspoon say?
He'd agree with me.
He would. Why? Explain that one.
Because here's the Pistons. They're gonna falter because once Miami gets Dwayne Wade back, everybody's screwed. Let's see. Cleveland's playing much better. Atlanta's Atlanta.
Charlotte
got whooped the other night.
Mm-hmm.
But this Piston team is hopeless right now. They don't have. I mean, like, what makes you think?
That speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does. That does speak for itself. Yes,
that speaks for itself that a lot of Michiganders don't agree with you.
No, Michiganders will agree with me. They
What?
will. Because here's why. The Pistons' schedule is absolutely brutal. So got to play Chicago a couple more times. Got to play Indiana a couple more times. You got to play Cleveland a couple more times. A lot of it results in losses. Yeah, a lot of them are going to result in losses. And they still have to go to the West Coast, I think, one more time.
You think so?
Yep, they're done. They're finished.
You think they're finished?
Yep. They're going to falter during the All-Star break. They're going to fall apart.
So you're saying Stan Van Gundy's going to lose control?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with you, but we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I want to talk about one more thing. What do you think about going forward? What do you think about going forward? You've got we made mention of Little League. You made mention too. You've got baseball coming up with.
Yes.
What do you think about Ian's beloved Detroit Tigers with V-Mart?
Alarming. They're done. They're in trouble. They're in so much trouble because Kansas City's better, Chicago's better, Cleveland's better. I mean, like, Ian Weatherspoon's got no idea what he's dealing with coming into the year with Kansas City, Chicago, and Cleveland. I think the Tigers are the third best team in that division right now behind Kansas City and Chicago.
What's your take about Ian Weatherspoon not being here?
Just like his Oakview team, he'll get swept again.
You think so?
Yep.
I don't think the people at Oakview are going to be too happy with what you just said.
Of course not.
But anyways, you've got middle school track coming up. What do you think
yeah.
about that?
Be a good year. I think it'll be a good campaign. Of course, I expect Scripps, Walden, Oakby to be good in girls in the shot. Boys be very interesting. Curious to see how that goes. I know we're gonna be good. Scripps. I mean, not sure about you or Ian. You know what I mean? But I know you two've got some pretty good kids coming up. So we'll see what happens. Then you got Clarkson, who's gonna be interesting. They're all 8th grade team. You know what I mean? And you got Sashball's all 7th grade team. Like I said, I don't know much about Sashball but I'll get a good idea once the season goes along. Pontiac, they lost the county champion last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their program's always solid. In Oxford,
Right.
they're always solid.
Right. Do you have a call out for this week?
You know what? No, I don't.
You don't.
Nope.
You don't. You don't have a call out.
Nope.
I can't believe you don't have a call out.
Yeah.
So no call out even for what happened at the Grammys?
What happened at the Grammys? Who cares?
Kanye West came back on stage.
Who cares? Who cares?
You think? Who cares?
Who cares? I don't watch the Grammys.
What do you think about Cosmo, the infamous Cosmo, mentioning the Lake Orion girls basketball team as the Fighting Taorminas tonight?
I kind of like it. You know what I mean? I like it because it gets me involved. I mean, it's evil. Big one tonight. Big one for them tonight. Big one against Troy. You know what I mean?
How do you think the girls are going to finish out in the division?
I think the girls will finish, second. I still think need some help, especially with what happened. They'll need some help, especially if Oxford can lose one game and Orion gets them at Oxford, which I think could happen. But I just think when you look at the season the girls are having right now, they're doing all right. You know what I mean?
It's still a good season.
I mean, 10-5 right now is not bad. You know what I mean? But
Very.
you look at the next 3 games, of course, they're 3 home games. You know what I mean? They play Troy, which is a big one because Troy's 10-6, 4-2 in the league.
Right.
Royal Oak, of course, they're battling with Oak Park in the blue right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to play West Bloomfield to close out their home schedule before closing out the regular season against them. Bloomfield Hills is a very, very good. They're not a bad team. Then you got Oxford, who Oxford's a good team in its own right because when you look at with the Wildcats, I mean, it'll be very interesting, especially when you look at girls like Sherilyn Bandish, Jessica Murphy, you know what I mean, Sky Donaldson, you know what I mean. Then of course, so I think when you look at the girls right now, I think right now they're in a good place right now. But big one with Troy, if they can get that one, this will be huge for their confidence, especially heading into Royal Oak on President's Night.
Should be fun. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it goes from here. Any final thoughts?
When we talk Orion girls basketball, of course, I don't think they're getting a lot of respect within the media because, I haven't noticed big time stories, and any words the big time stories they get have usually been losses. And when Orion loses, it's kind of not a good thing, what I mean? If Orion can win for a change and, get a big one, you know what I mean? It's for the girls, can they win the big one? They got to win the big one.
My final thought is for the Lake Orion student section. I encourage you guys to come out and support not just the boys basketball team, but the girls basketball team as well. Both teams are, the boys obviously having a tough year, but girls are doing pretty good. I encourage you guys to come out and support your athletic teams, because who knows? You got a very good team right now on the horizon in terms of the girls, and the boys are going to bounce back. But I encourage you guys, come out and support your teams, please. That does it with Between Taorminas. All right, I'm signing off with Sammy. Have a good night, Lake Orion, and keep watching.
Stay warm.
Stay warm.